In my opinion, one of the worst positions that you can find yourself in a fight, whether it's for sport or self-defense, is on your back on the ground. So in today's video, I want to go over 3 things: how to defend yourself from the ground, how to be offensive from the ground, and ultimately how to get back to your feet to where now you have a better opportunity of fighting back. So let's talk about fighting off of your back. Luis just had a fight recently, and one of the biggest things that we were working on with him was just working off the ground, not only from a defensive perspective, but also working strikes from the ground, and more importantly, getting back to your feet. Now, whether this is for sport, for self-defense, it doesn't matter. The principle remains the same. The strikes might differ just based off legality. But again, principles are the same. First things first, I'm on my ground. This is a bad spot to be. The number one thing that we don't want to do is just sit up, which when we're talking street specifically, you see this all the time where guys get knocked down, they trip, and they just start right away coming back up and they just get pummeled. So you have to have a good defense. I have to completely shield myself, because more times than not, these guys, the moment you fall, they're going to pressure in and they're just going to start leaning over the top, slamming, beating the crap out of you. Even in MMA, as we were working with him, you don't even necessarily have to pass. If you can pressure in from his position and keep those hips in good posture where I can't really work from there, and you can just wail on me from the distance, like I can't really do much offensively from there. So yeah, he's in a good spot. So this might be a situation that you find yourself in both in sport and street. So again, I have to be active. I have to be doing something. My hands have to be up, non-negotiable. My hands need to be up to protect myself, because of the fact that if he does manage to connect with my face, bear in mind, your head is going to be hitting the concrete or even the mat. Neither one is going to be good for you. So I have to keep my hands up as much as possible. Your feet have to be active. I need to make sure that my feet are up posted. It doesn't do me any good having my feet on the ground. I'm definitely not going to be trying to pull this person into guard. I need to have my feet actively acting as frames and or strikes, both at the same time if possible, but my feet have to be active, because again, if he is trying to pass me, he's going to be whipping those legs back and forth, and if he manages to get past, I'm going to find myself in a bad spot. Now, the last part of the defense is I want to constantly be trying to make space as much as possible. That can be done by striking and hitting, and we'll talk about that here shortly, but at the same time, even if he's just sitting here kind of working strikes and putting pressure, I kind of want to constantly just be working back. So if that means I have to post one foot on the ground and post one on him and use that to make some space, that's fine, but I want to constantly be trying to make space throughout the whole time. Nonetheless, when we're talking about just being defensive, we got to be active. That does include throwing strikes back. I don't want to wait for him to throw in those punches. So the second thing we need to be doing from the ground is as much damage as possible. Now this is where your strikes might differ based off of if I'm fighting in the street versus if I'm fighting in sport. In the street, I don't care at this point. I'm doing whatever I need to do to get him off of me and get him to the ground. That means I might full-blown go for the knees. I might go for the groin. If he's really kind of hanging over, I might throw a hard kick to the face. Anything that's going to stop him. Again, I'm not trying to go for pain compliance in the street necessarily. I want to end the threat so that I can get safely back to my feet. Now sport, I can still go for damage, right? Obviously I'm not going to be blowing out their knees in a MMA match, but I can start attacking the quad. Ways that we can do this, right? If he's kind of squared up like he is now, or staggered like he was, I can kick the inner thigh, get him to kind of buckle a little bit, maybe stretch his legs up. That might give me an opportunity to come back up. If he's squared up to me, man, options are endless at this point. I can strike to the gut. I can double leg and kind of just kick him back a little bit. Yes, if he is bending over, I am allowed to throw that kick up in the face. I can chomp down with the heel on the quad. We work these a lot during his fight camp. They suck. I can also just whip my leg next to his thigh. Again, anything that's just going to add damage over time. If we're talking about sport, you're just scoring points at this point, right? Point. I'm just racking up those points as much as possible. But the more active that I am with my strikes, the harder it's going to be for this person to pressure in, and the better opportunities that I'm going to have on getting back to my feet. Now, getting back to your feet, ultimate goal, right? I don't want to be fighting on my back. I don't care what your experience is. I'm a black belt in grappling. I don't want to be on my back in any situation. I need to be on top. So, how do we do that? 3 ways. One is I land a good strike that kind of buckles him, gets him to back off, and it just creates that distance. Maybe he was leaning in, I landed good shots in the gut, and I really drive him back. That might be the window of opportunity I need to work back up to my feet, right? Second option would be sweeps. If he starts really hipping into me and getting close, throwing kicks from this position are going to be difficult because I don't really have the ability to load up a kick, and if I do load up a kick, he's in a better position to pass. So if he is really loading up my hips, this is where we start working sweeps. When I'm doing regular sweeps like that, come back up. Maybe we do like tripod sweeps. If he staggers a little bit, we can hit a tripod sweep. The biggest key here is the moment I sweep him, I use that to come back up to my feet as well. The last way that we'll typically teach people to work back to their feet is if he does manage to pass, right? I don't want to roll around and kind of come up in this position because again, it's going to be a bad day for you. So what I want to make sure is if he does manage to pass my hips, I'm right away wrestling up. Now this works both for street and self-defense, because I'm able to keep my head nice and tight to his body. Sure, could he land a strike or two? Trust me, it's not gonna do much if you're actively fighting back up. Now again, sport, we have options. Street, you're most likely going to want to disconnect, get some distance, access tools, whatever you want to do from there. Now, one other detail that you do have to kind of keep in mind, like we said, defense is always going to be the #1 priority, second to getting back to your feet. I can't get back to my feet if I'm not protecting myself on the ground. So if at any point during this, I start working up to my feet, whether I damaged him, I made some distance, it doesn't matter. I start working up to my feet, he manages to start kind of rushing me. Don't get caught here with your pants down and try and scramble to your feet. You're never gonna win that fight. So if I'm in the process of getting up and he rushes me, I come right back down to this position. Right away, we start working those kicks, we start working the strikes, we make that distance, and we get up from there. Now, everything that we train, like I said, we were doing this for his camp. You have to be able to drill these if you really want to implement it, if you really want to see how this works for whatever it is that your objective is, right? Ultimately, in this situation, we're just focused on him getting back to his feet. That's what the drills focus on. So the way that this is going to work, we'll show you what 1 rep would look like. Basically, we would typically have shin guards on so that we can kind of throw some kicks from the standing position. But the idea for me in this top position is not necessarily to pass and smash and get to mount and all that stuff. We're simply just trying to work his defense, work his offense from the ground, and work his ability to make space and get back to his feet confidently. That's a big key right there. He's got to be confident in his ability to get up. So my job is to simply just kind of work here, whether I want to hip in or kind of stay at a distance, that's fine. And I just start kind of working some strikes, throwing some shots over. He's just going to kind of work these kicks. And just like that, if I happen to pressure in, he goes right back down to this position. If he managed to have enough time and he does get up, then he gets right back into a fighting position, because again, chances are I am going to get close to you. Nonetheless, that is a skill that you have to have in fighting in general. For the street especially, but even in MMA, if I'm on the ground, I'm not trying to grapple on the ground. I want to get to a top dominant position, or even better, I want to get back to my feet.